Morning, welcome back. So today is Saturday. Stephen's just left for work and I've just made some lovely homemade crumpets to have for breakfast before we go out and do all things small holding and perfectly organised day. That's not true at all. So it didn't start off too well. Went to get the milk this morning to make the breakfast before Stephen left and realised that we normally keep our milk in the freezers until we need them. So when I'd got some recently, my son had put them in the freezers, but I'd actually bought them for fresh use. So I've had to run out. I didn't have to. I wanted to run out because I want milk this morning. Picked up some milk from the local petrol station, went to the first one, and it was sold out. So there's still problems with getting milk sometimes. Well, also, they probably just hadn't had the delivery, but they haven't had milk for a few times that we've been, I've noticed. I don't like going to the petrol station for milk, so obviously you get charged a fortune. But anyway, back in, going to grab something to eat. And I thought I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of what we're doing today. And then when that started this morning, and I thought, no, do you know what? Let's just get on with it and do it. So time for a cup of tea, or a cup of coffee actually. Let's get going. Some crumpets. I've got an absolute mess of a kitchen to sort out. With us decorating, everything, even when the pots just need putting away, it feels even messier. So it is about 20 to 8, quarter to 8, just got back. Kids are going to get up after I've had some breakfast and we've got a busy day. We've got I've got Ollie's peppers to process, excuse the rest of the mess. All the peppers to process today, lots of broccoli to get from down the bottom, absolutely all sorts. The kids are going about 11 o'clock this morning to my parents because we're actually got a bit of a family get together, so they're going to help my mum tonight. Now that we're allowed, they're going to help my mum tonight to get ready for tonight, just so it's not too much for her. And then I'll have a few hours on my own while Stephen's at work. He'll get back and I'm not sure what we'll get done then. Before we leave, we have to be over there for about 6:30. We'll have to leave at 6, so I'll probably have to be done and wrapped up for about 5, I would have said. Something like that. Well, today's just took a turn for the worst. Just back from getting a PCR test, which is that a global phrase? But anyway, basically that means someone's tested positive on a lateral flow test. So the home testing kits that we've got here for COVID, probably don't even need to say for COVID. I think everybody would know what we're talking about by now. And my son has tested positive on those tests. On the lateral flow test. So we've been for a PCR test. They're so good at getting you in so quickly. It's a drive-through. Shove it up your nose, shove it at the back of your throat, pop it in the stuff. They'll test it and we get the results back within 24 hours. I'm hoping sooner. Jack is feeling absolutely fine. He has got a bit of a cold, so I'm wondering if the cold can display as positively on this test here. Mine's negative, Grace's is negative, Stephen's at work. But I guess these days, if you do test positive, you still, people who live in your household, as long as they're showing no symptoms, can still go in to work and things. Anyway, we'll test him obviously as soon as he comes home. Sorry, I'm just going to put my shoes on. But yeah, a bit disappointed in that. And we've actually ran out of lateral flow tests. We had loads and loads of kits. And for some reason, I guess everyone's been saying, no, we don't need any when we've been offered them because we've got so many. So note to myself and everybody, make sure you're stocked up. Now I'm thinking, have we got enough food? Have we got enough milk? Have we got enough tablets? If we all come down with it and we all need to be in the house for a period of time, I guess it just goes back to what we're all trying to achieve, or what I'm trying to achieve anyway, and just be self-reliant and not have to worry about going out to the supermarket to relying on others for things that we can rely on ourselves for. Anyway, so yeah, lighting's pretty bad. So yes, Jack's tested positive. We're just back from that test, the PCR test that I mentioned, so I'm hoping we'll get those pretty soon. In the meantime, he is in his bedroom and all sanitised up. I need to get sorted in here in the kitchen. Make sure everything's nice and clean. For those of you that don't know, I've actually got a respiratory disease myself. So I'm classed as clinically vulnerable. So I've got to be really careful. But equally, if my son's poorly and he needs me, you know. Anyway, let's get on. Get the kitchen tidied. We can still go about our day. Jack's upstairs. We'll wait till he gets his results before we make any decisions. But for now, unfortunately, we won't be going to my family get together tonight, which is such a shame because it's the first time we'll have seen everybody since before the pandemic. Life calls. We've done a check to see if we're ready. I think we're ready. We've got plenty of paracetamol, antibac wipes, Lemsip just for general coughs and things, which I don't normally do, but we did have some because we were on offer. The sprays and sanitizer. So I think if we do end up, because our next door neighbours have just gone through this and they kind of tested positive one day after the other, and so if we do end up being locked in, we should be good. If we do end up being locked in, then we should be good. The only thing we might run out of is a couple of fresh things, but that's okay, we can figure something out there. But for now, Grace and I are working on some jobs that we need to get out of the way so that if our attention is averted elsewhere, then we don't have anything else to worry about. So Stephen, we've recently had 6 lambs processed, and I have a whole load of diced lamb here that I need to get bagged up. So I'm going to pop this. This is the last of it. It feels like it's never ending, but this is the last of it, and this is for our winter freezers. So I've got my backpack machine out there, and I'm just going to get the last of this done, and then that's the only other big job that I must get done, because obviously we don't want this going off if I can't get to it or whatever. So some may say I'm panicking. I'm absolutely not, just being prepared. This is my backpack machine. I got this from Lidl. It's absolutely brilliant. Literally, this is the biggest bag that I've done. It's about, I don't know, about 700, 800 grams. All of the rest of the bags that are in here, I think there was 14 500 grams bag, and plus the extra. So this will just go into like a really big stew, and it'll do a couple of meals for us. I'll probably do the leftovers in a pie or something like that. But generally I bag things up into 500 grams, which is perfect for our family. I'm going to get this in the freezer. So this is going in a really deep freeze, so I'm not worried about it being stacked and not freezing in the middle, because it works just fine in our big freezer. And then I'm just going to grab some sandwiches for lunch, which is not great. I prefer not to be having sort of bread-based meals ideally, but never mind, it is what it is for now. And then I'm going to figure something out for tea. We've got Stephen on his way home from work, so he's fine at the moment, but obviously need to get him tested as well, see how he is this afternoon. Grace actually woke up this morning unbeknownst to her with all this going on with Jack. And she's got really achy legs, but she suffers from growing pains. So I know that that's how the neighbour's child started with COVID as well, which was the achy legs. So we'll see. Everybody feels fine at the moment, so I'm just glad even if we do have it, hopefully everyone will be fine. But this, guys, this is what we're prepped for. This is why we do some of what we do, not just for COVID, but just in general. If you just don't feel well enough, if something comes up, got something better to do than go shopping, prepare meals, you know, kind of do all of the things that can take time but have to be done. Save you eating junk food and eating out, all of that stuff. I'm not saying we don't do that, but I'd prefer to do less of it. But this is why we prepare, so that in any event we've not worried that we've got enough food and drink in the house to last us, not alcohol, juice, milk, water in the tap, to last us for as long as we need it, all being well. Anyway, I'm gonna get this lamb, where is it? I'm gonna get this lamb in the freezer and get some lunch and wait for Stephen to get home. Not too sure what I'm gonna do in between there. It's a little bit of limbo time. I might sit down and watch a bit of YouTube. I've had to close the doors to the greenhouse because these guys, the chickens, you see them? Oh, you can't see them now, maybe a little bit there. As soon as they hear me outside, they follow me and follow me into the greenhouse and start pecking at the tomatoes and whatever else we've got. Sorry, I haven't actually looked at what a mess I am at the minute. Anyway, what a day to do a day in the life. It's about 5 p.m. now. Stephen's home from work, did a lateral flow test, tested positive. And so we've all been as a family, well, the three of us, because we went and got my son a lateral flow test earlier on, no, a PCR test. The rest of us went this afternoon. We get those test results back tomorrow morning. Part of me is just thinking, put the camera down, but let's just carry on, get to the end of the day, and we'll see what the results are tomorrow. Since in between all of that, we've got two of the dogs had a bit of a disagreement. We've got an injured dog. He's not badly injured, but it's just one of those things that you kind of think, could do without this. Anyway, so I'm in the greenhouse. Obviously we're self-isolating at the moment now, well, until we get the results, but we're going to get at least 2 positives, I'm pretty sure. So I think we're going to be self-isolating for a while, which is the safest thing to do. It's the right thing to do, so that's okay. But in the meantime, we all still need feeding, and I am perfectly up for cooking. So I think what I'm going to do is grab some tomatoes. Got some aubergines in here as well. Can you see? There's some, that's one of the smaller ones. There's quite a few. So I think we might do like a layered aubergine, courgette, throw some sausage meat in there because I've got some defrosted. I was going to make a quiche with it but never got around to it, so it'll act just like the mince. Just do a kind of a layered tomatoey thing going on. So I'll show you what that looks like when I get it going. Nobody's quite hungry just yet because we've all had the odd little snack through the afternoon as we've been dashing around here and there and everywhere. So I'm going to get these, get a little bit of fresh air because I don't feel like I've been outside enough today. And I've still got those peppers to process. If you noticed them or if I showed you earlier, I can't remember. It's been a long day. And I need to get those processed and in the freezer. So actually I might throw some peppers in as well. I was going to do calzones. I was going to do a pie. But anyway, then I thought, I'm going to do calzones and just pressure cook some of the beef that we've got that was supposed to be done for the pie. But it's getting a bit late to make the dough and to let it rest. So I think what I'll like to do is make some dough that I can pop in the freezer another time, so I can just whip it out and use it rather than having to start from scratch. So I'm not sure when I'll do that, but I think it's a good idea. There's another chicken. Can you see her? There she is there. I don't know how she's got up here. But yeah, so we're going to get tomatoes, get some aubergines. I might get some Swiss chard actually. Throw some greens in there as well for some extra nutrients. And I think tonight is going to be not doing very much kind of night. So I'll show you the food that we're going to have and probably call it a night. So I apologise in advance for a potentially extremely boring day in the life. But this is just where we're up to at the moment. So tomorrow we're going to be spending outside because thankfully, even though we have to self-isolate, obviously we can still do stuff here because there's nobody else here. And assuming everybody's up for it. So Grace and I are perfectly okay. Stephen feels quite rough actually. And Jack's just got a bit of a sore throat at the moment. But assuming we're all okay, we'll get ourselves outside, get plenty of vitamin D tomorrow in the sunshine, hopefully. See where we go from there. But I'll be doing it on a separate video. So if you've got so far, thanks for watching. I'm going to show you what's for tea and then we'll call it a day today. All I've done here is layer the potatoes, courgettes and aubergine, drizzled with a bit of olive oil and paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. Oh, I haven't put the pepper on. Pepper will be coming. And then that's just going to roast for 20 or 30 minutes. I'll make up some mince and onion and Swiss chard and tomato in a separate pan, pour it over the top for your breadcrumbs and finish it off with some cheese. Gotta have cheese.